Good evening, and welcome to the fourth instalment of what I shall continue to call the quarantine sessions. I hope you're keeping well. It's it's been 2 days since the last one. As you can see, I have survived the last 48 hours, despite what felt like a rather somber outlook on Monday. I must admit, I felt much more reassured this morning after going out early to a shop and being able to find food on the shelves for what felt like the first time in a while. It was probably the reassurance I needed after a couple of trips to supermarkets, which only seemed to have bags of crisps and biscuits, if you were lucky, on the shelves, which is not the worst diet one could have, but if when you've got a family to look after as well, it feels a little irresponsible to just be bringing home bags full of jammy Dodgers and Doritos. Something about vitamins and all the rest. Anyway. I had two different requests for performances for tonight, and one was a book, one was a song, so I thought I would do exactly what the Ghostbusters advised us never to do and cross the streams. So I will start with a couple of books and then proceed to some music. If you have children who would enjoy a bit of Dr. Seuss or Where the Wild Things Are, then I will start with those. We will keep it entirely PG for now. And then we will move on to another dramatic reading, which will be wholly immature, I promise you. And then on to some music, which will not be, not to be unchild friendly, but it just depends whether you want them listening to Leonard Cohen or not. So, without further ado, for tonight's programme of younger literature, we have, as I mentioned earlier, Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak, which was one I always used to enjoy as a child. And What Was I Scared Of by Dr. Seuss. Michelle asked for a Dr. Seuss, and this was the only one we had in the house, so I hope this one will do. Now, the question is whether I'm going to be able to show you the pictures at the same time as reading it, whilst not setting fire to the book. The drawback to attempting to cultivate a dark and atmospheric image is that one is at great risk of setting oneself on fire when dealing with wooden instruments or indeed paper books. Trouble is, I can't see the... Oh dear, this is not working as well as I'd planned. I might just have to read it to you. Okay. What Was I Scared Of by Dr. Seuss. Well, I was walking in the night, and I saw nothing scary, for I have never been afraid of anything, not very. Then I was deep within the woods, when suddenly I spied them. I saw a pair of pale green pants, with nobody inside them. I wasn't scared, but yet I stopped. What could those pants be there for? What could a pair of pants at night be standing in the air for? And then they moved. Those empty pants. They kind of started jumping. And then my heart, I must admit, it kind of started thumping. So I got out. I got out fast as I could go, sir. I wasn't scared, but pants like that I did not care for. No, sir. After that, a week went by. Then one dark night in Greenwich, I had to do an errand there and fetch some Greenwich spinach. Well, I had fetched the spinach. I was starting back through town when those pants raced round a corner and they almost knocked me down. I lost my Greenwich spinach, but I didn't even care. I ran for home, believe me, I had really had a scare. Now, bicycles were never made for pale green pants to ride 'em, especially spooky pale green pants with nobody inside 'em. Excuse me, the cat has just joined us. I think he likes this story. And the next night I was fishing for doubt trout on Ruver River. When those pants came rowing towards me, well, I began to shiver. And by now I was so frightened that I'll tell you, but I hate to. I screamed and rowed away and lost my hook and line and bait too. I ran and found a brickle bush. I hid myself away. I got brickles in my breeches, but I stayed there anyway. I stayed all night, the next night too. I'd be there still, no doubt, but I had to do an errand, so the next night I went out. I had to do an errand, had to pick a peck of snide, in a dark and gloomy snide field that was almost 9 miles wide. I said, I do not fear those pants, with nobody inside them. I said and said and said those words, I said them, but I lied them. Then I reached inside a snide bush, and the next thing that I knew, I felt my hand touch someone, and I'll bet that you know who. And there I was, caught in the snide, and in that dreadful place, those spooky empty pants and I were standing face to face. I yelled for help, I screamed, I shrieked, I howled, I yowled, I cried. Oh, save me from these pale green pants with nobody inside. But then a strange thing happened. Why, those pants began to cry. Those pants began to tremble. They were just as scared as I. I never heard such whimpering, and I began to see that I was just as strange to them as they were strange to me. I put my arm around their waist and sat right down beside them. I calmed them down, poor empty pants, with nobody inside them. And now we meet quite often, those empty pants and I, and we never shake or tremble. We both smile and we say, hi. And it ends with a panoramic view across the snide field. If anybody can clarify for me what a brickle or a snide might be, or Greenwich spinach for that matter, well, write into the usual address or pop it in the comments. You know what to do. Oh. Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Random question. Does anyone? This is for viewers in the UK who are experiencing the same lockdown that I am currently enjoying. Do we know, because hardware shops are supposed to be open still, does anyone know whether that includes Wilkinson's? I don't know if they count as hardware or not. I'm just I'm asking because what I have here is a pint of homebrewed beer, which is still a little over half full, but you know, seeing as we could be in this position for a while, I am wondering how long it's going to last. So if Wilco are open, then I can obviously go and buy more kits to brew more beer. Yeah, if anyone knows. Otherwise, I'll just have to go outside and find out for myself. Anyway. On to this evening's second item. This, as I mentioned earlier, is a favourite from my own childhood. This is Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak. This one's got a lighter background, so I stand a slightly better chance of you being able to see the pictures with this one. I also know it better. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind, and another. His mother called him Wild Thing, and Max said, "I'll eat you up." So he was sent to bed without eating anything. That very night in Max's room, a forest grew. And grew. And grew. Until his ceiling hung with vines and the walls became the world all around. And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed off through night and day. And in and out of weeks, and almost over a year, to the land where the wild things are. And when he came to the place where the wild things are, they roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth, and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their paws. Till Max said, "Be still!" and tamed them with the trick of staring into each of their yellow eyes without blinking once, and they were frightened and called him the most wild thing of all. And made him king of all wild things. "And now," cried Max, "let the wild rumpus start." This bit's easy for me because it's just 3 drawn frames of rumpus. Rumpus number 2. Rumpus number 3. One might call this the rumpus triptych in the middle of the book. Lots and lots of wild rumpus. "Now stop," Max said, and sent the wild things off to bed without their supper. And Max, the king of all wild things, was lonely, and wanted to be where someone loved him best of all. Then all around, from far away across the world, he smelled good things to eat. So he gave up being king of where the wild things are. But the wild things cried, "Oh, please don't go. We'll eat you up. We love you so." But Max said, "No." The wild things roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth, and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. But Max stepped into his private boat and waved goodbye. And sailed back over a year, and in and out of weeks, and through a day, and into the night of his very own room, where he found his supper waiting for him. And it was still hot. Ta very kindly. Right. I did promise that we would now get tremendously immature with another very silly, dramatic reading of a customer review. And I think I have found the one. So the last time I did this, last Friday, it was the Veet for Men hair removal cream on Amazon. This time it will be the one of the many infamous reviews for Haribo sugar-free gummy bears. This one seems to become a bit of a sport. I'm aware that there's a bit of a culture around, a bit of competition around writing the most ridiculous Amazon reviews, or at least there used to be. But this one seems to have taken on a life of its own, to the extent that BuzzFeed actually compiled a list of their favourite reviews for this product. But this one here is... well, let's see how far we get. This one is not for the faint of heart, or the faint of gut, for that matter. The review is titled, "Just Don't, Unless It's a Gift for Someone You Hate." Oh man, words cannot express what happened to me after eating these. The gummy bear cleanse. If you are someone that can tolerate the sugar substitute, enjoy. If you are like the dozens of people that tried my order, run. First of all, for taste, I would rate these a 5. So good. Soft, true to taste fruit flavors like the sugar variety. I was a happy camper. But, not long after eating about 20 of these, all hell broke loose. I had a gastrointestinal experience like nothing I've ever imagined. Cramps, sweating, bloating beyond my worst nightmare. I've had food poisoning from some bad shellfish, and that was almost like a skip in the park compared to what was going on inside me. Then came the flatulence. Heavens to Murgatroyd, the sounds like trumpets calling the demons back to hell. The stench like 1,000 rotten corpses vomited. I couldn't stand to stay in one room for fear of succumbing to my own odors. But wait, there's more. What came out of me felt like someone trying to funnel Niagara Falls through a coffee straw. I swear my sphincters were screaming. It felt like my delicate starfish was a gaping maw projectile vomiting a torrential flood of toxic waste. 100% liquid. Flammable liquid. Napalm. It was actually a bit humorous, for a nanosecond, as it was just beyond anything I could imagine possible. And it went on for hours. I felt violated when it was over, which I think might have been sometime in the early morning of the next day. There was stuff coming out of me that I ate at my wedding in 2005. I had 5 pounds of these innocent-looking, delicious-tasting hell bears. So I told a friend about what happened to me, thinking it had to be some type of sensitivity I had to the sugar substitute. And in spite of my warnings and graphic descriptions, she decided to take her chances and take them off my hands. Silly woman. All of the same for her, and a phone call from her while on the toilet, because you kind of end up living in the bathroom for a spell, telling me she really wished she would have listened. I think she was crying. Her sister was skeptical and suspected that we were exaggerating. She took them to work, since there was still 99% of a 5-pound bag left. She works for a construction company, where there are builders, roofers, house painters, landscapers, etc. Lots of people who generally have limited access to toilets on a given day. I can't imagine where all of those poor men and women pooped that day. I keep envisioning men on roofs, crossing their legs and trying to decide if they can make it down the ladder or if they should just jump. If you order these, best of luck to you. And please, don't post a video. Oh, dear. We had this last time. I failed to get through the second Veet hair removal cream review. I promise I will not let this one beat me. If you order these, best of luck to you, and please don't post a video review during the aftershocks. P.S. When I ordered these, the warnings and disclaimers and legalese were not posted. I'm not a moron. Also, not sure why so many people assume I'm a man. I am a woman. We poop too. Of course our poop sparkles and smells like a walk in a meadow of wildflowers. Thanks for all the great comments. I've been enjoying reading them and so glad that the horror show I experienced from snacking on these has at least made some people smile. Yeah, still think the V one's better. Right, how are we getting on? You going to come and say hello? The cat is circling around me. I don't know whether he's going to come make an appearance or not. He'll probably scarper shortly when I pick the guitar up. Come say hello. Come on. Come say hello to the internet. Come on. Nope, unconvinced. Right. Let's go. Let's move away from the graphic toilet humour of the last article, and let's move on to something a bit more salubrious. Now that the weather, that's the word I'm looking for, now that the weather's improving, it's probably time for a nice summery song, so here's a bit of Ralph McTell before we make it all dark and moody again. Would help if I knew the chords. Me and my brother returned to the water. I saw a pike that was 2 feet long. 2 small magicians, each with a jam jar, cast spells on the water with hazel twig wands. Country boys catch tadpoles, dive into water, made shy by their laughter. We wandered downstream. Humor rolled over us with no complications, except thinking of Mama, sometimes in dreams. Stand by the drawbridges, waiting for barges, waiting around for smiles from the man lifting the bridges, while watching the horses dragging the slow boats up the canal. I do remember the time, but no number after the day, but before evening comes, waiting for castles and kettles with roses painted on barges that sailed to the sun. Oh, see the river run, that was by man begun. Open the locks, let the boats sail on, taking the castles and kettles with roses, with summers of childhood, leaving smiles on the man. Tar kindly, that was Barges by Ralph McTell. So, now on to the other request which I received for this session. Excuse me, I'll just let the cat out of the room. For some reason, he's terrified of my guitars. Usually very friendly, but scarps when I pick one up. This one, this was a request from Digo. Thanks for the suggestion. Um, okay. Confession time. I hadn't actually heard this song before today. Um, despite getting occasional comparisons to Leonard Cohen, I don't actually know his back catalogue that intimately. So this will be the first time I've attempted to play "Who by Fire" in front of a an audience. So you know, bear with me, or wish me luck, however positive you're feeling. How are you doing anyway? Uh, Who by fire, who by water, who in the sunshine, who in the nighttime, who by high ordeal, who by common trial, who in your merry, merry month of May, who by very slow decay, and who shall I say is calling? And who in her lonely slip, who by barbiturate, who in these realms of love, who by something blunt, and who by avalanche, who by powder, and who for his greed, who for his hunger, and who shall I say is calling? And who by brave ascent, who by accident, who in solitude, who in this mirror, who by his lady's command, who by his own hand, who in mortal chains, who in power, and who shall I say is calling? Who shall I say is calling? Who shall I say is calling? Who I say is calling? Oh, thank you. Always nice to try something different. As I say, I only heard that song for the first time this afternoon, and I rather like it. So might give that one a bit more work and actually do a proper recording of it at some point. Right, I will do one more and then call it a night. As usual, we're doing these 3 times a week. If there's anything you would like me to play or to read for the next session, pop comments in the below, send me a message, or just post something on the page. Next one will be on Friday. Doing these Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 p.m. UK time. So I hope you can join us for the next one. Thank you to all of those who've tuned in. Also, just one thing which I should probably be reminding you of more regularly. There's a link in the description below this stream. If you're interested in keeping up to date the absolute bleeding edge of Elephant Collective news, click the link to sign up. If you join the mailing list, we will send you 3 tracks absolutely free, no strings attached. You can unsubscribe at any time. Otherwise, keep tuning in, keep in touch. Hopefully this provides a good space to take your mind off all the chaos in the world swirling around us at the moment. I will also give you a few seconds if anyone has a song they would particularly like to hear to close this session. Otherwise, I will try and remember which songs I've actually written and play one of those for you. Well, in the absence of further suggestions, I'm going to fall back on a bit of an old favourite. This one is Powerless. The lies are old now, the message stale. Each broken promise is a sad and sorry tale. Now watch as all your systems fail. This new resurgence you tried to tame. You whispered rumors and you tried to smear its name. It keeps on rising all the same. Like a turtle on its back in the sun, you'll be powerless to stop it when it comes. You can embrace it, you can turn your tail and run. You'll be powerless to stop it when it comes. This poison chalice, blood and rust, your dreams of domination buried in the dust. You've gone too far to mend their trust. And the man you laughed at, he now walks tall. A younger generation looks to him enthralled. He's just in time to watch you fall. Like a turtle on its back in the sun, you'll be powerless to stop it when it comes. You can embrace it, you can turn your tail and run. You'll be powerless to stop it when it comes. Like a turtle on its back in the sun, embrace it, you can turn your tail and run. You'll be powerless to stop it when it comes. Like a turtle on its back in the sun, you'll be powerless to stop it when it comes. You can embrace it, you can turn your tail and run. You'll be powerless to stop it when it comes. 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 Well, thank you once again to everyone that's tuned in tonight. Don't forget, if you want some free music, sign up to our mailing list, the link below. If there's anything you want to hear, be it more songs, more ridiculous hammy readings, or just anything else you can think of, throw some comments into the boxes below, or spam the page, or however you see fit, and I will look forward to seeing you all at 9 p.m. UK time, this same location, this this page, on Friday. See you then, and a good night to you all.